Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to PCM21. It's career mode. We're on episode 61. We've got 3 big World Tour classics coming up in this episode, depending on how quickly I can get through them. At least 2 of them, anyway. And the first up is Paris-Roubaix. Absolutely love Paris-Roubaix, but we are not a team built for the ultimate classics Hell of the North race. I have one rider with cobble rating, of course, as you know, and that's Galvez. Galvez sitting on a 76. He's our hopes and dreams, and with a 76 rating, he's not going to do that great. Not going to do that great. You can see already we got guys struggling a bit. Sato went through all of his red bar and brought his yellow bar almost halfway down. Maeda down quite a bit as well, and as we continue right on, we're going to have to push a little bit harder with these guys to help try to hold position, because the field will begin to split here before too terribly long. Especially with poor cobble ratings like what we have. You can see there's already a couple riders gone out the back. Okay. The front group was 9. They've already lost 1 rider. And we've already lost, what, 7? Sato really hurting. So let's go ahead and use his gel now. He's not going to last too long. Means Fleche will have to take over protecting. Oh, Sato goes down. Okay, he's out. Put it back on auto. He is still in the Peloton, amazingly. For now. For now. I don't think he'll be there in a moment. Fleche, go ahead and protect Galvez. That's your leader. Do not want him riding solo. 3-star section. And Sato is gone. He'll be right near the very, very, very back of the finishing order at this point. That looks pretty obvious. Maeda already out of energy. Use his gel. Kalnin's use your gel. You're not going to last much longer. Razanaukis apparently needs to push a lot harder to hold his position. We're down to 155. Okay, that's Maeda. And then that's it. That's the back end of our group. Sato, the only one behind him. Maeda is going to fade as soon as we hit the next cobbled sector. He is protecting Jurcevic, so we'll have to switch that up to figure out who needs protection. Is it Razanaukis or is it Jurcevic? There's that Maeda going backwards part. 120. We're going to need water soon, but we're going to be beyond cobbles shortly, so we'll wait until then. Alright. Let's go ahead and set Maeda to auto. Kalnin's auto. And there's our final 4. We have Razanaukis clearly needs to take over protection on Jurcevic. He also needs to use his gel. Fleche is not going to last much longer. Are we in that happy zone? Yes, it's not much of a happy zone, but Fleche's Razanaukis is further back, but I'm worried that he is not going to make it back to the front. It's 145 riders. Okay, he recovers a little bit by going backwards, but jeez, look how far spread out this Peloton is.
The Peloton has significantly increased its speed.
All the way back behind Kalnin's and out of the group entirely to get water, which he still hasn't gotten. He finally gets the water, but look how far off the back he is. I mean, he dropped a kilometer and a half in coverage zone to get behind Kalnin's, who wasn't even in the group anymore, right? Yep, that's it. He did not make it. He failed. Wow. Okay. And that is why water is such an important thing. Fleche is just going to have to try to hang on and do what he can. Jurcevic, we desperately need water, but we're down to 87. Wait till the next cobbled sector, and it's going to shrink even more. Okay, Jurcevic, get water. Fleche's gone.
So this is the last third of the race.
Jurcevic didn't have to go as far back this time.
Attack by Mike Tennyson.
67 left. Jurcevic fighting through here. This is going to take a lot out of him. And this is going to leave Galvez on his own for 80k. That's how important your cobble rating is on this race. Down to 64. Galvez. Stop. You have water now. Recover your position. Jurcevic. Gel up. And provide protection. Galvez. Just get back into position, please. Okay, back into position. Now sit up. Jurcevic there to protect you for now. And we hit another cobbled sector. 4.5 stars. Galvez going backwards at the moment. F it up, please. There was a split happening. Did not want to get caught behind that. And I at least caught onto it very quickly. 6 chasing 36, but Galvez is the one trying to bridge that gap. I sat up a little too much for him. Okay, into that next sector. Come on. Come on, Galvez. He's going backwards. This is not good. Not good. This is way too early for him to be struggling like this. Okay, sit up. Let those guys do their thing. Okay, Jurcevic going backwards. 38, 40 riders ahead of us. We're barely inside the top 50. If anything, Galvez should be a little bit higher than this. But he is struggling. Let's hope we can bridge the gap to these 9 anyway. There's a lot of strong classics riders in here.
There's another rider with a puncture. The sides of the
He was
road
trying to
are not
conserve
the tires,
energy,
best friend.
and he slipped into a split. It's not that he went out the back. He just, there was a split, and he was right in the worst position. Recognized it, but couldn't quite cover it off. And now he's just going backwards, and it's 55k to go. And he's almost out of energy now, so even if he was in the Peloton, he'd already be gone. And you can see we just left that entire group behind because they all ran out of energy before he did. Now it's back together with some of the guys dropped, but 5 stars, Pavel. Galvez just struggling through. Yeah, this is going to be ugly. This is going to be ugly. 42k, now's a good time to grab some water. Don't get dropped, don't get dropped. Hang on, hang on. He does, just. Who are we with? Matthews. Game is suddenly really laggy. 3-star sector coming. Final 30k, but not recovering energy, which is a worry. I feel like if you eased off just a little bit, he could recover some energy. Down to 5 in this group. About to bridge the gap to some of the guys in front of us. Maurice, bring him back. 3 more guys just in front of that, and we are just hanging on at the back end. I think we're about to get dropped. Split off, we do. We hang on to those 3, not quite. Matthews back with us. 1 last sector to go. 10k. Are we at least inside the top 50? As we now do have a little bit of energy. Pushing for the finish. Be nice to try to catch those 3 in front. Oh, come on, game.
Superb sprint victory.
Oh, finish at the same time. Stuyven again with the winner. Beating Vanderpool again and Van Aert. That is the identical result as to what we just had. Hofstetter with the rainbow bands. 3.2k. Can we catch these guys in front? The game is lagging so bad. Two more riders to make top 20. 1.7k. Let's leave these guys behind now. Ease off again. We open that gap. Final kilometer. Okay, they came back at me, or is that the guys we're looking to lap? No, we're still ahead of them. And we cross the line. 31st. Okay. It is top 20. Top 50. Not top 25. Sagan this time, 20th. Hey, uh, considering when that gap opened up, the way that hurt us, knocking us out of the Peloton, that that cost me quite a few positions. I think we probably could have had that top 25 if we had held on to the Peloton a bit longer. But I was trying to not overdo it, not push, but also trying to go fast so that I can get 3 stages in today. So I was not as cautious as I should be, but I was also overly cautious at the same time. That ended up being a bad combination, and I got caught out. So that's my bad. At the same time, kind of hands tied of trying to move fast and carry a big stick. Amazingly, all but one rider managed to finish the race. Only 3 riders in excess of an hour down. Sato, one of those, though he at least was not last, made it also. Kalnin's, Razanaukas, all very much near the back end of the field. That's how weak we are in our cobble ratings as a classics team. I'm desperate to find a second or third or fourth classics rider this transfer season. I really, really want to strengthen that, because as we are potentially moving into the World Tour, these races are going to become the norm, and we're just not built for it. And that one rider, Galvez, who leveled up once last year and hasn't leveled up since, he's low potential. He's still young, and we're hanging on to him for many years to come, because he's all we've got, and there's not much out there in our pool of riders. Luke Schies was our second highest finisher at 130th. Going into the season, we made our plan for 3 Grand Tours, assuming that there was a pretty good chance we'd get into at least 2, if not all 3 of them. And then we kind of found that there was a fair bit of races that we just weren't getting into, despite having the highest rated team, the highest ranked team from last year, and that bonus going forward, and plus a guy who wins on a regular basis and one of the highest overall ranked teams, period, even though we're not even in the World Tour. We're not going to La Vuelta, though. So we do have the Giro, and we do have the Tour de France. And now that there's only 2 and not 3, I think that calls for taking our 3 best to each of them. Why not? 2 Grand Tours is very doable. 3 Grand Tours might be asking a little bit much. So I think we're going to reallocate things a little bit objectively and prepare all 3 guys to go compete and see what they can do with those Grand Tours coming in as a Continental team. Wouldn't that be something if we were actually competing properly for a podium? We've seen in the last few years that there's been scenarios where you've had a team leader on a Continental Pro team who was down a little bit on time and outside of the top 10, but not far outside of the top 10. And then they get into a breakaway. And because they're Continental Pro, because they're outside of the top 10, they're not taken too seriously. And then the breakaway hangs on. Whether they win the stage or finish 3rd or 4th, they end up gaining multiple minutes on the GC guys. And suddenly you have guys that aren't necessarily contenders in a contender's position, either temporary leading or 2nd or 3rd, whatever the case may be. They are suddenly in an advantageous position that they weren't in. Now, of course, for me, to me, every year, this is Thibaut Pinot in a nutshell. Even though he's not a Continental Pro rider, he's that guy who gets outside of the top 10 early in the race through bad luck or one bad day, whatever the case may be. He gets down and out, and then he'll go attack one stage, and nobody follows because he's not in contention. And then he goes and wins that stage or takes 2nd on that stage and gains 4 or 5 minutes, and suddenly he's back in 5th place and contending and riding in for GC all of a sudden. And then he ends up finishing, 4th or 5th place in the Tour that year, and everybody's like, oh, the next year he's a contender. And we hit repeat. And it happens again and again, year after year after year with Pinot. And I feel like I'm the only one who has picked up on this, that this is his pattern. He loses time, he breaks away when nobody cares anymore, and then regains time and suddenly becomes a contender late in the race. But he's never a contender throughout a race. You never see that actually happen. He's just one of those guys who's good enough to be a challenger, to be a strong climber, but not consistent enough, and so he yo-yos his position. Anyway, good example, but not 100% because he's not a Continental Pro guy, but you could see Barguil, you could see Quintana, Guillaume Martin was one of those guys until he's now a World Tour guy himself. But he still has that same profile of somebody who kind of up and down. He's in the teens in the standings, and then all of a sudden breakaway, gains time, back and forth. Well, anyway, I'm rambling. Let's move on. All right, so it's Fleche Wallone. We're going to get Maida to protect Berlikov right off the bat here, as things are still just getting established. We've got the whole race ahead of us, so I do want to move quick early on. Rivera maybe could have a chance as a protected guy, but he's probably going to end up riding for somebody else. Karaman, Martin Guerrero. I think there's three obvious leaders, and I would assume Igashin is... No, he's a puncher. So Lukshis probably is going to have a pretty solid rating. A lot of guys fighting to join the breakaway today. Comes Martin Guerrero. He's the only one on a negative race day condition, but it's only his downhill rating that's going to be impacted. And look, he's a puncher also. That's not enough of a rating, so we want to protect Martin Guerrero. And then Igashin, already up here now, 71 mountain. That's not going to do it. There's definitely going to be some climbing. And we have Berlikov, right, with the climbing and the punchiness. So we already have a leader in him. Even though Igashin might have an 80 hill rating, that 71 mountain, I don't think he's going to be around at the end. However, that's certainly a better option to look at than, say, these guys. I think we get off Martin Guerrero, protect Karaman as your two top climbers, and then leave Martin Guerrero to his own devices. As somebody who can handle himself through the climbs and still be there late. And then Igashin, you give him protection, hope he could be there, in which case, if he is, you put him on the back end of Berlikov, and then you have two guys to really go for it at the end. And if he's still there, maybe, just maybe, he could take a win. Otherwise, Berlikov is who you ultimately ride for. You lead him out with Karaman, you lead him out with Martin Guerrero, you lead him out with Lukshis and Rivera and Maida. I mean, we brought a good group of climbers to this one, so you never know. We do have a shot at a race like this one. Not having those cobbled sectors makes a big, big difference to a team like us who just lack in that department. Climbing, punchiness, yeah, we can do that. Pretty sizable gap to a breakaway of 5, biggest climb of the day happening right now, and 131k to go. So our first time to get water on the day will be here fairly soon. In fact, I think I want to send Maida before the top to do that, just before the top, so he's already sliding backwards and now coming forward again while we're on this flat sector before we then drop, and that way the Côte de la Redoubt is addressed already with the water taken care of. Pace not too bad at this point, so that was an easy climb ultimately. Gap already back down to 4.5 minutes on those front 5, and the first bit of riders seem to be falling off the back, and yet we're not even tired. Looks like it was a fall, that's why Ulysses is out, but he doesn't seem to be getting back on either. 90k to go. I think we need to up our tempo a little bit with these guys. Prepare them for the remainder of that race to come. 83k. We need water again, but we want to time this right. And I don't see a good window in the next little bit. 20k to go. We're going to have to get through these next 3 climbs, and I think we're going to aim for this plateau right in here as our opportunity to get water. Peloton currently yo-yoing, but we're in a nice front position. And we're okay through there. This next one's not bad. And we're just starting to see the sign of fatigue in our climber's legs, which means the sprinter types were feeling it a bit earlier. And that's given us a little bit of an upper hand going forward. Okay, here's our first time up the Mur de Huy. Here we go. We're going to do this 3 times. Alright, we are up. Maida, still good enough to go get water. Martin Guerrero, somehow struggling. Okay, we have the water. Let's go ahead and get everybody up to an 80 now. Position starts to matter more this late in the race. 50k to go. Comes Maida with the water. And task complete. And again, we climb. Look, she's Karaman, losing some ground there. Not sure who he got caught behind, why he lost so much ground so fast when he's got a really nice mountain rating. Alright, here we go. This is that penultimate climb, and then you go into the Mur de Huy. This is the first of 2 times that we hit this climb. And you can see the pace has suddenly lifted by quite a bit. Somebody's looking to split the field here. So 83, I don't want to push too hard with this, but we're very much slipping back fast, and we don't want too fast. And we are seeing a split.
We've just learned of a fall. Let's hope that all riders will get up quickly.
Okay. Everybody effort up to 85 as we go to hit the Mur de Huy. This group almost in contact. Here's the right-hander that puts us on the Mur de Huy after we turn left again. That was the bridge right there just off the side. And we crossed over last time, and now we are back on the circuit that we do 3 times, minus that 1 climb. Breakaway is done, Peloton. A lot of riders still here. But again, the fatigue part is going to really set in after this one as we do our last time up here on the plateau. And this is where we're going to be able to get guys back in position. Maida going backwards. Rivera has gone backwards. He's out. Down to 71 riders, and this group and everybody behind him have 0 chance of coming back. Van Sevenit, Sivikov. Wow, some good riders. These guys are all on the verge of getting dropped, but maybe not. Arsteda, they could keep it in contact. No, that looks to be about it. 64. And you can see at least 1 more ready to get dropped. So we need to reassess our group here in the next little bit with 23k left to go. Lukshis is protecting Karaman. Martin Guerrero needs to protect Berlikov. And we're going to switch you to Igashin. Karaman, you can climb on your own. And with the 85 effort, they're scooting back up into position. Everybody near the front. Okay, we have 1 more intermediary climb here and a little bit of undulation, and then we go into those final 2 climbs. By the time we hit that point, we will be in a sprint train. Karaman still struggling a little bit further back, so up the effort, please. Seeing 1 movie star rider try to go clear. Solo doesn't worry me. It's when you have a group of 4 or 5 guys trying to go clear that I'm concerned. Okay, Martin Guerrero is fading. Lukshis is fading. We're going to have 3 riders for that final little push. And I might reassess how I do this. Based on Igashin being pretty tired and Berlikov being fresh, we ride for Berlikov. Okay, here's that last little undulation. And now we're going to set up. Okay, we're going to set this to, like, say, a 91. We will follow Karaman. We'll follow Igashin. Igashin has a better flat rating, and he needs to come forward fast because Burlikov really shouldn't be dropping back for this, and yet he will. He should wait for these guys to come up to him. Is how that one should work. But there you go. He only dropped a few bike lengths.
There's now just 10 kilometers
Sat
left.
up. Brought his heart rate down a little bit. 41 riders. Likshies is here, and he's actually trying to protect his leader, so that works. Martin Guerrero, meanwhile, also here. Put him back to auto. Igashin Gel, 7.5K to go. Igashin as a puncher. We want to push pretty hard, but we don't want to kill Karaman and Burlikov. But you're seeing a big push from these guys. They sit up. Oh, we're getting blocked off. Mark Hershey ends up getting completely in our way. Okay, we're going to go 99 from here. Karaman's Gel. Do Burlikov's in a moment. Burlikov's still looking fresh, but two guys have gained a little bit of a gap on the penultimate climb. Igashin now leading the chase. Karaman into position, Burlikov into position, and we almost have a split here. Well, we do have a split, not the expected split, but 1.5K to go, and Igashin is done. Karaman. Done. Burlikov, it's 1.2K. I think a 92 is going to be a good effort from here. He's got some ground to cover. Okay, 94. Move on ahead, move on ahead. Get yourself into the top 10. His teammates did not get him as well placed as I was hoping, and he's going to definitely be on the back foot. He's riding for 12th place. Hayter, Roglic, Vanderpool, 1, 2, 3. We're only going to get 12th. Pidcock, Pogacar, Bernal, Cosnefroy, Hershey, Alaphilippe.
We're waiting for the tail enders who continue to arrive.
We used up that red bar. We had a little bit of yellow left. We just didn't get the best lead out. The lead out was not as strong as it could or should have been. Burlikov was a little too far back. He started about 12th. He finished about 12th. Actually, no, he ended up, by the time we went through Igashin and Karaman, he was about 17th or 18th. So he actually had ground to make up just to get to 12th. So our first taste of the hard classics doesn't go as well as we'd hoped, really. One top 10 out of all of these World Tour races that we've had here. Meanwhile, we're dominating the Continental Pro. The races that I'm quick simming and participating in, we're winning most of them, or finishing second or third. So total domination on that front. Little bit of a struggle on this front. Definitely have some work to do as we move into World Tour. It's not going to be automatic. But in terms of rankings and where we sit right now, Almeida is on top. Burlikov crushing the Continental rankings. And now leading the Super Prestige rankings. He's got the most wins on the season by anyone with 10. And that is why we are in such a good position. World Tour rankings, we're 18th, even though we've missed plenty of those races. Continental, first by a fair margin. And Super Prestige, 7th. That's why we are destined for World Tour, but we're just still not a complete team. That is going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe. See you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.